Chapter 2, Soul of the Sea, Staring at the Fire. Let me take you on a journey into my past. Try and dig out what is bothering me. During this journey, I opened the channel to mi amigo, the devil. See, he said a lot in December 2020. I had not talked to him at length since the park in December 2020. There was a lot of questions. However, I needed to be careful with my words. I did not trust my devices. See, I might be a simple woman, but there's a lot of ways for someone to get into another device. I did not want to put myself and my son in danger. I knew who the chosen one was, just one problem. I could hardly remember our history. And during that week, we started fighting again, fighting like when I was working my corporate healthcare role. And it hit me loud and clear. It was never the job. It was not my mental health. It was my marriage was a lie. I like to read it super dramatically because I don't feel this dramatic anymore. And I'm sorry for everyone. It was my mental health. He would be upset if I was dressed in saran wrap making chicken wings. He does not love me. You do not eye roll and yell at someone you love when you just need comforted after a stressful work day. I will never not have a bad day, and in these moments something switches in me. I deserve to receive the love I give. I deserve to have someone make me laugh in those hard times. I deserve to be happy and joyful. And I will not be happy in this endless cycle of the same fight, which is not even an issue. The issue is within a person that is not my responsibility to fix. Well, Saturday morning was terrible, and I told him that we would make better parents as friends. He got mad, and we had another mind-numbing discussion of him not getting it and me trying to not show emotion. Well, we stood in the yard after he told me that I had one more time to ask him for a divorce before he would make my wish come true. I just grinned, which makes him mad, and he said something I'm not going to read because I don't want it to be read by anyone. And I smiled and said, "Come on, buddy, we are going to be late for the party." I turned on my old friend's song he sent me, and I smiled, cried because it was over. And in my head, I made my decisions. Now action. I can do hard things. My old friend's hard things was always like a carrot at the end of a long race. My old friend's hard thing was like a carrot at the end of a long race. A big carrot. His nickname for me is Bunny. He's my invisible friend. Oh. However, I was an adult and I needed to do it by myself for myself. He knew I could, and he knew I needed to prove it to myself that I do not need to rely on a man. Even though my lion was purring like an old Mustang for some of that, she was going to have to wait. Also, he kind of nudged me in the direction of writing 50 Shades of Grey, and I tried to do a sarcastic version of that inside of whatever book I was trying to write. This is my second book, and I'm scared of it, to be honest. I don't know what it says. I was in a really bad mental state when I wrote this. I needed to play the chessboard of life to get out of this happier at the end. I did not want a messy divorce or a custody fight. I would win, but it would get mean. I do not want to be mean anymore. A fight with the father of my child was the last thing I needed to deal with while my mom was fighting to live. Leaving this safely without getting labeled crazy. The crazy. And I would rather die than to mess up my child's perception of his mother. And even though I loved my old friend, he could not get above my child. He would never allow me to put myself in a situation to lose custody of my kid, which made me fall in love over the months while we waited. Still waiting. Tick tock, tick tock. The clock never struck midnight. My old friend and I. Well, but we have all these books for my next relationship to wonder. Then I knew in every crossroad in the journey to divorce. When I showed up at the birthday party, I ran into a coworker that was my best friend. She is in a marriage that she's in a marriage with a police officer. So when she said, "Stacy, you need to go to North Dakota to be with your family," I heard her. I called my oldest sister, and she only had $200, and I only had 500. I said, "I need to fly out there," and she said, "How much can you put down on the ticket?" I said 300. She used her last 200 to get me away from that. This I did not know until July 2021. If I did not have the money, I would have been stuck. However, I would have found a way. The journey would have been a lot harder. Having my family to save me is a gift not a lot of people have. When I got on the plane listening to an album that my old friend sent me with the intentions to pull my suppressions out, I was free. However, the battle had just begun. I was playing my cards close to my chest, and I did not want him to catch wind that this was about a boy, and honestly, it was not. Yes, I'm in love with my old friend, and my relationship needed to end a long time before my old friend came crashing back into my life in December 2020. Now, now his words in the park in December 2020 gave me the fire under me that I needed. When I was writing my story with intention of resilience, it did not make sense for me to deal with this treatment. When I wanted to unpack my day and the triggers that it brought, I was met with annoyance of my emotions that I cannot control, and he said, "I'm not dealing with this again." In response to me being triggered by a woman that looked like my mom during the time in our life that was deeply painful. Now, at this time in March, when I thought my mom only had months to live, her responses to tears of sadness was annoyance. I thought to myself, my old friend would never make me feel bad about being sad, and I knew what I needed to do. I need to get my purse. I am a person that can do any job at any time. Why can I not release this hold on me? The next couple of days, I started dropping hints of divorce. I started to slowly trip that we would make much better as friends. See, we have been trying to get this plane off the tracks for years now, and it just seems like we would be better as friends. Well, he got mad, and his hand was healed, and he could take care of himself. I am too tender-hearted to leave a man with a broken hand. Even if the hand was broken because I was being at a party, his words, not mine. Well, I mean, I was. So, a lot of our problems with my schizoaffective disorder. So, just a disclaimer: if he watches this, I don't feel this anymore. It's not really a secret. This statement made me fury mad. I am not way, shape, or form being that. And if you want to, yes, I was. So I'm just going to take that back out. My behavior at the New Year's Eve party with Mr. Shadows was continuously described as acting like and often using the phrase like my, and now this is usually just alluded. He knew if he said it out loud every time I would move away from being a servant wife and breaking the chain. He would use my sister's painful history against me. This is a powerful weapon. See, my trauma stems from her. However, I understand her pain, and when my husband would make comparisons to my behavior and hers, that always got me back in line. However, using the weapon of pain against me was a knife, and I pulled on my back and sharpened. For the last time, I am not my sister's. So, I am Stacy Day. So this was something I needed to heal. this is a really painful chapter for me, and I don't feel this anymore. This is why I've been trying to rewrite this book a lot, but I just decided to edit around the painful. Using weapons in the form of words was no longer going to control me. I am not able to defend myself. Defending myself would spark my rage. My rage is not safe during a time of transition out of a marriage with a man. That blah, 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 blah. I could not help it that you do not. I was mad this day. You can feel that. Mr. Shadows and I are like brother and sister, and we acted like that at every party that had whiskey involved, and I really did not think anything was wrong. And that's the end. It's a pretty terrible chapter. It's one of the worst chapters I've probably ever written, and I don't believe any of this. Jeff did the best that he can. We did the best that we can, and it's been 3 years. But I had to leave it. It's great suspense. It's a great back and forth, and then we'll end at the very end. He is a great dad to Danny, and life is not as painful as it was whenever I wrote this chapter, because I probably wrote it with tears down my face. So, the end.